Now, you're about to learn why space is far stranger than anyone admits. Imagine this: a signal that appeared once and never again. An object from another star system slipping through ours like a blade, and an ocean under Europa's ice that may not be as empty as we think. I thought I understood cosmic mysteries, until this iceberg dragged me deeper. And one of the things we'll hit has no scientific explanation to this day. By the time we reach the bottom, you might never look at the universe the same way again.
Level 1, the tip of the iceberg, Planet 9. Planet 9 is the name given to a hypothetical massive world lurking somewhere on the distant edge of our solar system. Astronomers first proposed its existence after noticing strange gravitational anomalies in the Kuiper Belt, that icy, far-flung region beyond Neptune.
Some of the objects out there follow highly stretched, unnatural orbits that don't quite make sense if we only consider the planets we already know. To explain these odd trajectories, scientists suggested the presence of a hidden giant tugging on everything with its gravity.
If Planet 9 is real, it's likely a gas giant around 5 to 10 times heavier than Earth. Its orbit would be unbelievably distant, anywhere from 400 to 800 astronomical units from the Sun. For scale, 1 astronomical unit is the distance from Earth to the Sun. At such a colossal distance, Planet 9 would need 10,000 to 20,000 Earth years to complete a single orbit. Right now, astronomers are still hunting for direct evidence. They're analyzing sky surveys, running simulations, and trying to estimate where this mysterious world might be hiding. If it's ever discovered, it could completely reshape how we understand the formation and structure of our solar system. The Big Bang. The Big Bang Theory is the leading scientific model explaining how our universe began. According to it, about 13.8 billion years ago, everything we know emerged from an unimaginably small, dense, blazing hot state that suddenly began to expand. Important detail: it wasn't an explosion in space, it was space itself, stretching and growing, carrying matter and energy outward. In those first fractions of a second, the universe was so hot and energetic that only the simplest particles could exist: quarks, electrons, and other building blocks. As things cooled, these particles combined into atoms, which later formed stars, galaxies, and eventually the cosmic structures we observe today. One of the strongest pieces of evidence for the Big Bang is the cosmic microwave background, a faint glow of radiation discovered in 1965. It fills the entire sky, acting like an ancient afterglow, a kind of lingering echo from when the universe was only 380,000 years old. Another key observation comes from Edwin Hubble, who discovered that galaxies are moving away from us, and the farther they are, the faster they recede. This fits perfectly with the idea of an expanding universe that began from a compact initial state. The Big Bang Theory continues to evolve as new data rolls in, shaping our understanding of the universe's origins, its structure, and even its future. But the biggest questions remain untouched by any telescope. What triggered the Big Bang? And was there anything at all, before it? Tabby's star. Tabby's star, officially known as KIC 8462852, earned global attention in 2015 for one very strange reason. Its light keeps dimming in ways no one can fully explain. The star sits about 1,500 light-years away in the constellation Cygnus. Astronomers noticed that its brightness would drop erratically, sometimes by as much as 22%, which is far more extreme than anything expected from a star of this kind. The anomaly was first flagged by astronomer Tabitha Boyajian and her team while analyzing data from the Kepler Space Telescope. From the beginning, theories ranged from swarms of comets to, well, alien megastructures. The alien idea, while purely speculative, set the internet on fire. Some suggested an advanced civilization might be constructing something like a Dyson sphere to harvest the star's energy, but follow-up studies crushed that hype. No other signs of intelligent life were detected, and the dimming didn't match what a solid artificial structure would produce. The leading explanation today is far less sci-fi, but still intriguing: a massive cloud of dust, debris from a shattered planet or asteroid, drifting in orbit and blocking the starlight in unpredictable patterns. Observations show that the dimming depends on the wavelength of light, exactly what we'd expect if tiny dust particles were involved rather than a rigid, alien-built structure. Still, none of the theories fully account for just how deep and chaotic the brightness dips are. Tabby's star remains one of the most puzzling objects in modern astronomy: the Pioneer Plaques. The Pioneer Plaques are one of humanity's earliest messages to potential extraterrestrial civilizations. They were attached to the spacecraft Pioneer 10 and Pioneer 11, launched in 1972 and 1973, tiny golden maps drifting into the dark forever. The plaques are made of anodized aluminum with a thin layer of gold, engraved with symbols meant to communicate the basics about who we are and where we came from to whoever might find them. The design is simple but profound. It shows a nude man and woman standing beside the spacecraft for scale. The man raises his hand in a gesture meant to signal friendliness, while the woman stands in a calmer, more neutral posture, a balanced representation rather than anything aggressive. Next to them is a diagram of the hydrogen atom, the most common element in the universe. This symbol acts as a universal key, defining units of time and distance used across the rest of the plaque. Further down is a map of our solar system, with a line showing the spacecraft's point of origin, Earth. But the most important element might be the set of 14 lines radiating from the sun, each representing the unique frequency of a different pulsar. Because pulsars have extremely precise characteristic signals, this star map could, in theory, allow an extraterrestrial civilization to pinpoint the exact location of our solar system. Two tiny spacecraft carrying a cosmic hello, drifting deeper into interstellar space. And if someone ever finds them, they'll know exactly where we live. Uranus on its side. Uranus is one of the strangest worlds in our solar system, and its biggest oddity is that the entire planet is basically lying on its side. Most planets spin almost upright relative to their orbit. Uranus, meanwhile, has an axial tilt of about 98 degrees, which means it practically rolls around the sun like a giant turquoise bowling ball. Because of this tilt, Uranus experiences some of the most bizarre seasons imaginable. Each pole gets 42 years of constant sunlight, followed by 42 years of total darkness, all within its 84-year orbit. Scientists believe this dramatic tilt may be the result of a massive collision billions of years ago. Something big, maybe a protoplanet or a rogue icy world, slammed into Uranus and knocked it over, permanently altering its orientation. This sideways rotation messes with more than just seasons. Uranus's magnetic field is also tilted and offset from the center of the planet, creating a wildly irregular, almost chaotic magnetosphere unlike anything else in the solar system. The extreme angle likely affects the planet's atmosphere too. Long stretches of sunlight and darkness drive unusual weather patterns, temperature shifts, and seasonal storms that scientists are still trying to fully understand. All of this makes Uranus one of the most mysterious and captivating planets we've ever studied. A frozen, tilted oddity quietly rolling through the outer solar system. The Tesla Roadster. In February 2018, SpaceX, Elon Musk's company, launched something no one expected into space. A bright red Tesla Roadster strapped to the very first Falcon Heavy rocket. The car, which originally belonged to Musk himself, served as a quirky test payload for the rocket's debut mission. Sitting behind the wheel was a mannequin in a SpaceX spacesuit nicknamed Starman. The entire moment went viral. Part spectacle, part symbol of humanity's ambition to push farther into the cosmos. But the Roadster didn't stay anywhere near Earth. Instead, it was placed on a heliocentric orbit, a long elliptical path around the sun that carries it out roughly as far as Mars. Now the car and its silent driver drift through space, endlessly looping between Earth's and Mars's neighborhoods. Scientists estimate that Tesla could continue its solar journey for millions of years, although time won't be kind to it. Cosmic radiation, micrometeorite impacts, and relentless exposure to the vacuum of space will slowly tear it apart, piece by piece. For now, though, Starman keeps cruising, a strange little monument to human curiosity, ego, engineering, and the cosmic road trip no one asked for. The Golden Records. The golden records are 2 phonograph discs sent into interstellar space aboard Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 in 1977. They were created as a message to any extraterrestrial civilization that might someday encounter the Voyagers, a cosmic time capsule of who we are. Each record contains a curated collection of sounds and images meant to showcase the diversity of life and culture on Earth. Inside are 115 photographs, plus a set of natural sounds: thunder, ocean waves, birds, animals, the acoustic heartbeat of our planet. The records also carry a musical anthology that spans continents and centuries: Bach, Beethoven, Chuck Berry, traditional songs from Africa, China, Peru, and many more. There are greetings in 55 languages, and even a message of peace from US President Jimmy Carter. One of the most intimate inclusions is the recording of the brainwaves of Ann Druyan, a member of the Voyager team. Her neural activity was captured while she thought about love, humanity, and the vastness of the universe. A literal snapshot of human emotion etched into a cosmic artifact. The records are made of copper coated in gold, engineered to survive the harsh environment of space for billions of years. Each one is housed in a protective aluminum case with engraved symbols that explain how to play it and where the craft came from. A pulsar map on the cover acts as a galactic address label, pointing the way back to Earth. Since both Voyagers have now crossed into interstellar space, the golden records are the most distant human-made objects ever created, drifting farther and farther away, carrying Earth's voice into the dark. String theory. String theory is a branch of theoretical physics that changes the way we think about the building blocks of the universe. Instead of treating particles like electrons or quarks as tiny indivisible points, string theory proposes that they are actually one-dimensional vibrating strings. These strings are unbelievably small, on the scale of 10 to the minus 35 meters, the Planck length. At this size, they appear point-like to us. But the way they vibrate determines everything about a particle: its mass, its charge, even the type of force it interacts with. Different vibration patterns, different notes, different particles, almost like a cosmic instrument tuned to the laws of physics. One of string theory's biggest appeals is that it naturally incorporates gravity. Quantum mechanics and Einstein's general relativity famously don't play well together, but string theory offers a framework where all 4 fundamental forces, gravity, electromagnetism, and the strong and weak nuclear forces, can be unified. Because of this, some physicists see it as a potential candidate for a legendary theory of everything. But string theory comes with a wild twist. It requires extra dimensions of space. Not just the 3 we experience, but 10 or even 11 dimensions for the mathematics to actually work. We don't see these dimensions because they're theorized to be folded or compactified into incredibly tiny scales, curled up beyond anything our current instruments can detect. String theory may or may not be the blueprint of reality, but if it is, then the universe is built not from particles, but from vibrating threads of energy weaving space and time into existence. The wow signal.
The wow signal is one of the greatest mysteries in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. It was detected on August 15, 1977 by astronomer Jerry Ehman using the Big Ear radio telescope at Ohio State University.
Ehman noticed a sudden, incredibly strong, narrow-band radio signal coming from the direction of the Sagittarius constellation. It lasted for 72 seconds, the exact amount of time the telescope could observe that patch of sky. Stunned by what he saw, Ehman circled the strange sequence of numbers on the computer printout and scribbled one word in the margin. It became the signal's legendary name. What made the wow?
What made the wow signal so remarkable was its frequency. 1,420 megahertz, the natural emission line of hydrogen, the most abundant element in the universe. For decades, scientists have considered this frequency a logical, universal channel, one that any intelligent species might use to send a beacon across the stars. Hydrogen is the foundation of chemistry, physics, and possibly communication.
But here's the chilling part. Despite countless attempts to redetect the signal from the same region of the sky, it has never appeared again. A one-time cosmic whisper, researchers have proposed many explanations: a passing satellite, Earth-based interference, instrumental noise, or some rare natural event. Yet none of these hypotheses have ever been confirmed, and so the possibility remains faint, unsettling, tantalizing that the WOW signal might truly have been extraterrestrial in origin, a solitary hello from somewhere far beyond Sagittarius that never repeated. Level 2, the waterline. Triton was captured. Triton, the largest moon of Neptune, is one of the strangest objects in our solar system. Its orbit alone gives away its secret. Triton wasn't born around Neptune, it was captured. Most moons orbit in the same direction their planet spins. Triton doesn't. It moves in a retrograde orbit, traveling against Neptune's rotation. That backwards motion is a huge red flag for astronomers. It suggests Triton wasn't formed in Neptune's neighborhood, but originally drifted freely, likely as a large Kuiper belt object far beyond the planet. The leading theory? Triton once passed too close to Neptune. The giant planet's gravity grabbed it, yanked it off its old path, and locked it into orbit. Over time, the orbit became more circular, but it never stopped being retrograde, the biggest clue to its violent past. This capture theory explains several other bizarre features of Triton. Its surface is covered with young ice, hinting at recent geological activity. And the Voyager 2 flyby revealed active geysers blasting nitrogen gas into space, something incredibly rare for an icy moon so far from the sun. These geysers may be powered by internal heat generated by tidal forces, as Neptune's gravity kneads Triton's interior like dough.
But there's a darker twist. Those same tidal forces are slowly dragging Triton inward. If the process continues, its orbit could eventually destabilize, or even tear Triton apart.
A captured world, a stolen moon slowly spiraling toward its fate. The heat death of the universe. The heat death, also called the Big Freeze, is one of the most widely accepted theories about the ultimate fate of the universe. It's based on the second law of thermodynamics. Over time, every system drifts toward maximum entropy, maximum disorder. In that state, energy becomes so evenly spread out that none of it can be used to do work. No stars, no structure, no activity. In this scenario, the universe keeps expanding, growing colder and emptier with every passing eon. Stars slowly burn through their fuel, fade, and collapse into the frozen remnants of their former selves. White dwarfs, neutron stars, and black holes. Even black holes aren't eternal. According to Stephen Hawking's theory, they will eventually evaporate through Hawking radiation. But this process takes an almost unimaginable amount of time, far longer than the age of the universe today. As energy smooths out across an ever-expanding cosmos, nothing new can form. No stars can ignite. Matter thins into near nothingness. Temperature differences disappear, and with them, every physical process that depends on movement, pressure, or imbalance. In the final stage, the universe becomes uniformly cold, dark, and inactive. No heat flow, no thermodynamics, no chemistry, no life. Just a vast, silent, nearly empty expanse drifting toward eternity. Heat death is expected to arrive in trillions upon trillions of years, far beyond any human concept of time. It's the slow, irreversible end of cosmic evolution, a future where the universe simply runs out of things to do. Nibiru.
On January 16, 1974, scientists at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico beamed a powerful radio transmission into space. Its destination, the M13 globular star cluster, located about 25,000 light-years from Earth.
Sitchin claimed that ancient Sumerian texts described a hidden world called Nibiru, a planet with a long stretched-out orbit that supposedly swings through the solar system every 3,600 years. He also suggested that an advanced extraterrestrial civilization, the Anunnaki, lived on Nibiru and visited Earth in the distant past. But here's the catch. None of this is supported by real archaeology or astronomy. Sitchin's translations and interpretations of Sumerian writings have been widely criticized and rejected by experts. No credible evidence has ever been found for a planet named Nibiru. nor for any visits from hyper-advanced extraterrestrials. The Nibiru cataclysm theory went viral again, leading up to December 21st, 2012, when people connected it to the end of the Mayan calendar cycle. Predictions of global doom, planetary crashes, and cosmic disasters flooded the internet, and then nothing happened. 2012 came and went without so much as a suspicious rock passing by. Astronomers have repeatedly confirmed that there are no large undiscovered planets on trajectories that could threaten Earth. Extensive surveys of the outer solar system show no signs of a wandering doomsday world. Based on everything we know about orbital mechanics, physics, and direct observation, the existence of Nibiru is considered extremely unlikely. But as myths go, it remains one of the most persistent, a modern cosmic ghost story.
The Arecibo message. The Arecibo message was never meant as a real attempt to contact aliens. It was a technological demonstration, a symbolic gesture showing humanity had reached a point where it could meaningfully broadcast into the cosmos.
The message lasted 169 seconds and contained exactly 1,679 binary digits, a number chosen very intentionally. 1,679 is the product of two prime numbers, 23 times 73. This allows the data to be arranged as a 23 by 73 grid, or 23 by 73 grid, 73 by 23. When formatted correctly, the pattern reveals a visual diagram packed with information. The decoded image includes numbers from 1 to 10, atomic numbers of key elements in DNA, hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, a representation of the structure of human DNA, a simplified human figure, Earth's location in the solar system, and a schematic of the Arecibo telescope itself. The fascinating part? The Arecibo message was never meant as a real attempt to contact aliens. It was a technological demonstration, a symbolic gesture showing humanity had reached a point where it could meaningfully broadcast into the cosmos. Even if someone in M13 did receive it and understand it, replying would take, 50,000 years for a round trip. It was less a conversation and more a cosmic postcard, a single binary whisper flung into the dark just to show that we could.
COBE. COBE, the Cosmic Background Explorer, was a space observatory designed to study the origins and evolution of the universe. Its main mission was to measure the cosmic microwave background, the faint afterglow left over from the Big Bang. One of COBE's most important discoveries was the detection of tiny temperature fluctuations in this background radiation. These minuscule variations represent the earliest differences in density, the seeds that eventually grew into galaxies and the large-scale structures that fill the universe today. Even though the fluctuations are incredibly small, they turned out to be crucial for understanding how an originally uniform universe transformed into the complex cosmic web we observe now. COBE also confirmed that the spectrum of the cosmic background follows an almost perfect black body curve, a major piece of evidence supporting the Big Bang theory. Together, these findings strengthened the view that the universe began as a hot, dense state, and has been expanding and cooling ever since.
Gravitational lensing. Gravitational lensing is a phenomenon where the gravity of a massive object, like a galaxy, galaxy cluster, or black hole, bends the path of light coming from something even farther away. This effect was predicted by Einstein's general relativity, which states that mass and energy warp space-time itself. So when light passes near a massive object, its trajectory is curved, almost as if it were moving through a giant cosmic lens. Because of this bending, the light from distant galaxies or stars can appear magnified, stretched, or even duplicated, creating multiple images of the same object. Gravitational lensing has become one of astronomy's most powerful tools. It allows us to observe objects that would normally be far too faint or distant to detect. The effect can brighten background galaxies and reveal details we would never see otherwise. It's also a crucial method for uncovering dark matter. Dark matter doesn't emit light, but it has gravity, and that gravity distorts the light of objects behind it. By studying these distortions, astronomers can map the invisible mass in the universe. The most striking form of this phenomenon is strong lensing, where background light is bent into arcs or even perfect rings known as Einstein rings. Gravitational lensing not only confirms Einstein's theory, it gives us a way to measure the hidden mass of the cosmos, peer into the farthest reaches of space, and study structures we'd otherwise never be able to see. The Fermi paradox. The Fermi paradox is the tension between two facts. The universe should be full of life, yet we have zero confirmed evidence of anyone else out there. The paradox is named after physicist Enrico Fermi, who, during a lunch conversation in 1950, asked the famous question, "Where is everybody?" Our Milky Way contains hundreds of billions of stars, many with planets in the habitable zone. Statistically, life should be common, maybe even intelligent life. In 1961, astronomer Frank Drake created the Drake equation to estimate how many civilizations in our galaxy might be capable of communication. Most reasonable estimates suggest the number shouldn't be zero, and yet we've found nothing. No signals, no artifacts, no signs of extraterrestrial engineering, not even a cosmic hello. There are dozens of theories trying to explain this silence. Intelligent civilizations might be extremely rare, or they might destroy themselves quickly through war, environmental collapse, or other catastrophes. Perhaps advanced species choose isolation, a kind of cosmic non-interference, staying quiet to avoid danger. Maybe alien life is so radically different from us that we can't recognize its signals or biology. Or they could simply be too far away, far beyond the reach of our current technology. The Fermi paradox remains one of the most haunting questions in science. If the galaxy should be teeming with life, why does it feel so empty? Earth doesn't orbit the sun. The claim that Earth doesn't orbit the sun is just a misunderstanding, a leftover from outdated ideas about how the solar system works. In reality, of course, Earth does orbit the sun. That's something we all learn in school. This idea comes from the heliocentric model proposed by Nicholas Copernicus in the 16th century. According to this model, the sun sits at the center of the solar system, and the planets, including Earth, move around it due to the sun's gravitational pull. Earth's orbit isn't a perfect circle, though. It's an ellipse, slightly stretched out. Gravity pulls us toward the sun, while our orbital motion keeps us from falling into it or drifting away into space. That delicate balance is what holds Earth on its stable path. Before the heliocentric model, people believed in the geocentric system, the idea that everything revolved around Earth. It dominated thinking for centuries. So when someone claims that Earth doesn't orbit the sun, they're basically repeating a theory that was disproven hundreds of years ago by Copernicus, Galileo, Newton, and a mountain of observational evidence. If the topic ever comes up, the answer is simple. We've known for a long, long time that Earth really does travel around the sun. Haumea. Haumea is a dwarf planet located on the outer edge of our solar system, deep in the Kuiper Belt, a vast region of icy bodies beyond Neptune. But Haumea stands out from its neighbors not just because of where it is, but because of what it looks like. Unlike most round celestial objects, Haumea has an elongated, stretched shape, almost like a cosmic rugby ball. This bizarre form is the result of its incredibly fast rotation. Haumea spins once every 4 hours, making it one of the fastest rotating large objects in the entire solar system. Discovered in 2004 with the Subaru telescope in Hawaii, Haumea was officially classified as a dwarf planet in 2008. Its longest axis measures about 1,600 kilometers, placing it among the biggest known objects in the Kuiper Belt. Haumea also has 2 moons, Namaka and Hiyaka, both named after Hawaiian goddesses. Its surface is primarily made of water ice, while its interior likely contains a rocky core and perhaps a very thin, fragile atmosphere. The dwarf planet's unusual shape and rapid rotation suggest it may have formed after a massive collision in the distant past. Such an impact could explain both its stretched appearance and its relatively low density compared to objects of similar size. One of Haumea's most intriguing features is the possibility that its surface is constantly changing. The rapid rotation may drive ongoing geological processes, resurfacing, fresh ice deposits, or shifting patterns across its exterior. a spinning, icy enigma at the edge of the solar system, and one of the strangest dwarf planets we've ever found. The upside-down Venus. Venus is often called upside down because of its bizarre rotation. Unlike most planets in the solar system, Venus spins in the opposite direction of its orbit around the Sun, and opposite to Earth's rotation as well. If you were standing on its surface, ignoring the fact that you'd instantly melt, the Sun would rise in the west and set in the east, completely reversed from what we see on Earth. This backward spin is known as retrograde rotation, but Venus has another twist. It rotates extremely slowly. One full turn on its axis takes 243 Earth days, which means a single Venusian day is actually longer than its year of 225 Earth days. So retrograde rotation, unbelievably slow spin, a day longer than a year. All of this makes Venus one of the strangest planets in the solar system. Its axis is also almost perfectly upright, tilted only about 3 degrees, compared to Earth's 23.5. Because of that, Venus doesn't experience seasons the way we do. But its atmosphere is the real nightmare. A dense blanket of carbon dioxide, clouds of sulfuric acid, and surface temperatures hot enough to melt lead. Venus is, quite literally, the most hostile planet in our neighborhood. As for its upside-down rotation, scientists still debate the cause. One possibility is that Venus was struck by a massive object long ago, flipping it over. Another theory suggests that slow, persistent gravitational forces could have gradually reversed its spin over millions of years. Either way, Venus remains a strange, scorching world spinning the wrong way through space. Level 3, the shallows. Saturn's rings formed by the destruction of a moon.
One of the most compelling theories about Saturn's iconic rings is that they were created when a moon was torn apart. Not our moon, of course, but one of Saturn's own satellites.
Saturn's rings are made of countless particles, ranging from tiny ice grains to massive boulders. They're mostly composed of water ice with just a touch of rock mixed in, and they orbit well inside the Roche limit, the region where Saturn's tidal forces are so strong that no moon can survive intact. According to this hypothesis, a moon or large icy body drifted too close to Saturn. Once it crossed the Roche boundary, the planet's gravity overwhelmed the moon's own self-gravity, ripping it apart piece by piece. Those fragments spread out along the orbit, eventually forming the ring system we see today, thin, bright, and spectacularly wide. What makes this idea plausible is the age of the rings. Many studies suggest Saturn's rings are relatively young, possibly only a few 100 million years old. If true, it means the destruction of that ancient moon wasn't some primordial event, but a dramatic cosmic accident in the more recent history of the solar system. There are other possibilities too. The rings might have formed from leftover material that never managed to become a moon at all, or from debris produced during gravitational tug-of-war between Saturn and passing celestial bodies. But the shattered moon scenario remains one of the most striking. A once solid world pulled apart by the planet it orbited, leaving behind a shimmering graveyard of ice that circles Saturn to this day.
The Big Crunch Theory.
The Big Crunch is one of the dramatic hypotheses about how the universe might end. According to this idea, the expansion that began with the Big Bang could eventually slow down, stop, and then reverse. Instead of stretching outward forever, the universe would begin to collapse inward, ultimately shrinking back into a single, unbelievably dense, blisteringly hot point. The theory is built on a simple question: can gravity overpower the expansion of the cosmos? If the total amount of matter in the universe, including dark matter, were dense enough, its collective gravitational pull could eventually halt the expansion and start pulling everything back together. In the Big Crunch scenario, galaxies would begin drifting toward each other, stars would collide, temperatures everywhere would rise to unimaginable extremes. Over time, every structure, galaxies, stars, planets, atoms, would be crushed as the universe contracts. In the final moments, all mass and energy would collapse into a single point, a state possibly similar to whatever existed before the Big Bang. But modern observations complicate this picture. In the late 1990s, astronomers discovered that the universe isn't just expanding. It's doing so faster and faster, driven by the mysterious force known as dark energy. Because of this accelerating expansion, the Big Crunch is now considered far less likely. Many scientists see the opposite scenario, the Big Freeze, an endlessly expanding and progressively colder universe, as the more probable fate. Still, the Big Crunch remains a haunting possibility, a cosmic story that begins and ends in the same fiery point.
Wilkinson Microwave Anisotropy Probe. Wilkinson Microwave Anisotropy Probe was a NASA spacecraft designed to study the cosmic microwave background, the faint afterglow left behind by the Big Bang. This radiation gives us a kind of baby picture of the universe, showing what it looked like about 380,000 years after its birth, when space first became transparent to light. Wilkinson Microwave Anisotropy Probe's main mission was to measure tiny temperature fluctuations across this background with incredible precision. Those tiny differences represent the earliest density variations, the seeds that eventually grew into galaxies, clusters, and the large-scale structure of the cosmos. One of WMAP's biggest achievements was refining the estimated age of the universe, about 13.8 billion years. The mission also helped pin down the key ingredients of the cosmos: 68% dark energy, 27% dark matter, 5% ordinary matter, everything we see, touch, and know. Wilkinson Microwave Anisotropy Probe produced the most detailed map of the cosmic microwave background ever made at the time. Its data revealed a pattern of temperature variations that trace back to the very first moments after the Big Bang, fluctuations that ultimately shaped the complex universe we see today.
A simple spacecraft, parked a million miles from Earth, quietly gave humanity one of its most precise snapshots of the cosmos: the 10th planet. The 10th planet is a term that pops up in discussions about large, still unconfirmed objects beyond Pluto, a relic of earlier debates about how we classify worlds in the outer solar system. The idea gained momentum in 2005 when astronomers discovered Eris, a massive icy body in the Kuiper Belt. Early estimates suggested Eris might be even larger than Pluto, sparking a huge debate over whether it should be considered a full-fledged planet. This controversy eventually forced the scientific community to re-evaluate the definition of a planet. In 2006, the International Astronomical Union introduced a new set of criteria. Under these rules, Pluto was reclassified as a dwarf planet, and Eris received the same status. That decision reshaped the entire solar system's hierarchy. Many Kuiper Belt objects once considered potential planets were officially recognized as dwarf planets instead. Still, the term 10th planet sometimes appears in discussions about hypothetical worlds in the distant outskirts of the solar system. Some astronomers believe there may be large, yet undiscovered planets lurking far beyond Pluto, perhaps Earth-sized or even bigger, influencing the orbits of smaller icy bodies. Whether such a world exists remains unknown, but the search continues in the frigid darkness beyond Neptune. The face on Mars. The face on Mars is one of the most iconic images ever taken of the red planet. It was captured in 1976 by NASA's Viking 1 spacecraft while photographing the Cydonia region. In that grainy picture, a large mesa appeared to resemble a human face, complete with what looked like eyes, a nose, and a mouth. The photo immediately sparked worldwide fascination and endless speculation. Some people believed it could be evidence of an ancient Martian civilization, imagining colossal monuments carved into the landscape like Martian pyramids or Martian equivalents of Easter Island statues. The face quickly became embedded in pop culture, fueling books, documentaries, and conspiracy theories about life on Mars. But later missions revealed the truth. High-resolution images taken in the late 1990s and early 2000s showed that the feature is simply a natural mesa, a plateau shaped by erosion with no artificial structures of any kind. The eerie facial appearance was caused by a combination of shadows, angle of sunlight, and the low camera resolution of the original Viking image. In other words, it was a textbook example of pareidolia, the human tendency to see familiar shapes like faces where none actually exist. The face on Mars didn't turn out to be proof of aliens, but it remains a powerful reminder of how eager we are to find meaning, even in the dust and rock of a distant world. The Pluto-Charon double planet system. The Pluto-Charon system is often described as a double planet, thanks to the unusual way these two bodies interact. Unlike most moons in the solar system, which orbit their planets from a comfortable distance, Charon is so large compared to Pluto that their relationship doesn't fit the usual planet-moon model at all. Charon's diameter is about 1,200 kilometers, roughly half the size of Pluto, making it the largest moon relative to its parent body anywhere in the solar system. Because the two objects are so similar in mass, their shared center of gravity, the barycenter, doesn't lie inside Pluto. Instead, it sits between them in open space. This means Pluto and Charon actually orbit a common point, almost like two dancing partners tethered together, the defining characteristic of a double planet system. They are also tidally locked to each other. Just as the moon always shows the same face to Earth, Pluto and Charon always show the same sides to one another. Wherever you stood on Pluto, Charon would hang in the same place in the sky, unmoving, and vice versa. This synchronized, gravitationally balanced system has sparked debate among astronomers. Should Pluto and Charon officially be considered a double planet? Because Pluto is classified as a dwarf planet, the system doesn't meet the formal criteria for a double planetary system. But dynamically, gravitationally, and behaviorally, Pluto and Charon act far more like equals than like a planet and a moon, a tiny binary world pair locked in an eternal cosmic waltz at the edge of our solar system. Nemesis. Nemesis is the name of a hypothetical star that some astronomers once proposed to explain periodic mass extinctions on Earth. The idea emerged in the early 1980s, when researchers from the University of California, led by physicist Richard Muller, suggested that the Sun might have a distant, faint stellar companion, a kind of dark twin. According to the hypothesis, Nemesis would occasionally pass through the Oort cloud, the massive sphere of icy bodies surrounding the solar system. Roughly every 26 million years, its gravity could disturb the orbits of comets there, sending some of them hurtling inward toward the inner planets, including Earth. Such comet showers, the theory suggests, could trigger catastrophic events like mass extinctions. The asteroid impact, believed to have wiped out the dinosaurs 66 million years ago, is sometimes cited as a possible example of this process. The Nemesis idea was inspired by claims that mass extinctions appear to follow a cyclical pattern in Earth's geological record. If true, a gravitational trigger from a hidden companion star seemed like a plausible explanation. But after decades of searching, astronomers have found no evidence for Nemesis. Extensive sky surveys failed to detect any star or brown dwarf that could fit the proposed profile. Later studies also questioned whether the supposed extinction cycles even exist, suggesting the pattern might just be a statistical coincidence rather than a real, repeating signal. Nemesis remains a fascinating idea, part science, part cosmic folklore. But as far as current evidence shows, the Sun has no secret twin lurking in the dark. The Big Bounce Theory. The Big Bounce Theory offers an alternative vision of the universe's origin, one very different from the classic Big Bang model. Instead of a single moment of creation, this hypothesis suggests that the universe moves through endless cycles of expansion and contraction. In this model, the universe doesn't begin with a single explosive birth. Instead, it contracts under gravity, shrinking toward a state of extreme density and temperature, a near singularity. But instead of collapsing completely, quantum effects intervene, causing the universe to bounce outward again. A new phase of expansion begins, creating a new cosmos. Every cycle, every bounce, could produce a universe with slightly different physical properties, making each iteration unique. This cyclic view implies a cosmos with no true beginning and no final end, but rather an eternal rhythm: expansion, contraction, collapse, rebound, forever. The Big Bounce is often discussed within the frameworks of quantum gravity and string theory, both of which attempt to merge quantum mechanics with Einstein's general relativity. In the Big Bounce scenario, gravity drives the collapse phase, but quantum processes prevent a complete breakdown into a singularity, triggering the rebound. These ideas are supported by quantum cosmology, which suggests that quantum effects dominate when the universe is at extremely small scales, precisely the conditions where a bounce could replace a bang. A universe that dies, resurrects, and breathes again endlessly. Golf on the moon. Golf on the moon became a real thing in 1971 during the Apollo 14 mission when astronaut Alan Shepard, the first American in space, decided to perform an unusual little experiment. Shepard secretly brought a modified golf club head, attached it to one of the mission tools, and took 2 swings on the lunar surface. Thanks to the moon's low gravity and lack of air resistance, the balls flew far farther than they ever could on Earth. The first shot traveled around 183 meters, while the second went even farther into the lunar distance. The moment became one of the most iconic and charming scenes in the entire history of space exploration. But despite its fame, it wasn't part of the official mission plan. Apollo 14's real objectives were scientific, collecting geological samples, deploying instruments, and studying the moon's surface. Yet Shepard's spontaneous golf demonstration added a rare human touch, a playful reminder that even on another world, curiosity and humor follow us. Level 4, Dark Waters.
The Martian Spoon.
The Martian Spoon is the name given to a small rock discovered by NASA's Curiosity rover, which has been exploring Mars since 2012. In one of its photos, viewers noticed a stone whose shape looked uncannily like a perfectly curved spoon hovering slightly above the ground. When the image hit the internet, it instantly caught the attention of conspiracy theorists, sparking claims about ancient Martian civilizations, alien artifacts, and mysterious relics left behind on the red planet. But according to NASA scientists, the explanation is far less exotic. The spoon is simply a natural rock formation, sculpted over millions of years by Mars' harsh environment. Constant wind erosion, sandblasting, and the slow grinding of dust storms shape the rock into something that just happens to resemble a familiar object. A trick of nature, and a reminder of how easily our brains see patterns even where none exist. The Lunar Penis Drawing and the Moon Museum. The story of the penis drawing on the moon is one of the strangest and most obscure footnotes in NASA's history. During the Apollo 12 mission in 1969, the second crewed landing on the moon, a tiny, secret piece of artwork hitched a ride aboard the lunar module. This covert payload, known as the Moon Museum, was a miniature ceramic tile roughly the size of a postage stamp. It contained small artworks by several famous contemporary artists, including Andy Warhol and Robert Rauschenberg. The idea came from artist Forrest Myers, who wanted to create the first art installation on the moon. The tile was quietly attached to the lander without official NASA approval. Among the microscopic artworks was a simple, childish line, drawing of a penis, reportedly added by Warhol as a joke, and definitely not something NASA signed off on. Because the tile was tiny and hidden on the spacecraft, the astronauts had no idea it was there. It remained completely unnoticed for decades, only gaining public attention much later when the story finally surfaced. Reactions were mixed. Some saw it as a harmless prank and a bit of artistic rebellion. Others viewed it as an inappropriate joke smuggled into an iconic scientific mission. But the fact remains, somewhere on the lunar surface, attached to an old Apollo lander, lies a tiny piece of avant-garde art, including a miniature secret scribble left behind by one of the most influential artists of the 20th century, the center of the universe. The idea of a center of the universe has fascinated humanity for thousands of years, both scientifically and philosophically. In ancient times, many cultures believed that Earth, or even their own civilization, sat at the literal center of everything. This view was formalized in the geocentric model, championed by thinkers like Claudius Ptolemy, where the sun, moon, planets, and stars all revolved around us. In the 16th century, Nicholas Copernicus overturned that idea. He showed that Earth orbits the sun, not the reverse. Later discoveries by Galileo and Kepler confirmed this, and the concept of a single cosmic center began to crumble. Then in the 20th century, Edwin Hubble made a groundbreaking observation. Galaxies are moving away from each other, and the farther they are, the faster they recede. This led to the realization that the universe is expanding, not outward from a fixed point, but everywhere, all at once. In an expanding universe, there is no central location. every point in space sees every other point moving away, like raisins spreading apart inside an inflating loaf of bread. So the old question, where is the center of the universe, has a surprising modern answer. There isn't one. Or, in a way, everywhere is the center. Alien life beneath Europa's ice. Europa is considered one of the most promising places in the entire solar system to search for extraterrestrial life. Beneath its thick frozen shell lies a global subsurface ocean, kept warm and liquid by powerful tidal forces from Jupiter's gravity. Scientists believe this ocean may be in direct contact with Europa's rocky mantle, a combination that could create environments similar to Earth's deep-sea hydrothermal vents, where microbes thrive without sunlight, feeding on chemical reactions instead of photosynthesis. The moon's cracked, ridged surface suggests active exchange between the ocean below and the icy crust above. These features may carry traces of salts, minerals, or even organic molecules from the water underneath. Upcoming missions, most notably NASA's Europa Clipper, aim to study Europa's surface composition, the thickness of its ice shell, and any chemical signatures that could hint at biological activity. If life exists beneath Europa's frozen crust, even in microbial form, it would be one of the most groundbreaking discoveries in human history, reshaping our understanding of where and how life can arise beyond Earth. Russell's teapot. Russell's teapot is a famous philosophical analogy introduced in 1952 by British philosopher Bertrand Russell. He asked us to imagine a tiny ceramic teapot orbiting the sun somewhere between Earth and Mars, far too small to be detected by any telescope. If he claimed this teapot existed but couldn't provide evidence, Russell argued no one would be obligated to believe him. The analogy illustrates a powerful idea. The burden of proof lies on the person making a claim, not on those who question it. In other words, you don't have to disprove someone's unprovable assertion. They have to show why it should be believed. Human ashes beyond the solar system. In 1998, a small portion of the cremated remains of Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, became one of the first human ashes ever sent into deep space. Roddenberry took part, posthumously, in the Celestis Memorial Spaceflights program, which offers families the opportunity to send tiny capsules of cremated remains into space as a symbolic tribute. A small sample of his ashes was placed aboard a special spacecraft that eventually left the solar system entirely, making Roddenberry, in a poetic sense, one of the few humans whose remains now drift among the stars. A fitting legacy for the man whose work inspired generations to boldly go where no one has gone before. The vacuum. A vacuum is a region of space with extremely low density, far lower than Earth's atmospheric pressure. Outer space is the closest thing to a perfect vacuum we know, where across vast distances you'll find only the occasional stray hydrogen atom drifting alone. But even empty space is never truly empty. According to quantum physics, the vacuum is filled with tiny fluctuations called vacuum energy, which constantly creates and destroys virtual particles. So even nothingness isn't really nothing. The vacuum plays a crucial role in both experimental physics and space exploration. For example, in a true vacuum, objects fall at the same rate regardless of mass, a fact famously demonstrated in Galileo-inspired experiments. In space, vacuum conditions also have dramatic effects on the human body. Without pressure, bodily fluids can begin to boil at normal body temperature, making protective suits absolutely essential for survival. The vacuum isn't just empty space, it's a strange active backdrop against which the universe unfolds. The Big Bang and quantum tunneling. The idea that the Big Bang may have been triggered by quantum tunneling is one of the most intriguing attempts to bridge quantum mechanics and cosmology. Quantum tunneling is a phenomenon where particles pass through energy barriers that they shouldn't be able to cross, according to classical physics. Some theories suggest that our entire universe could have emerged from a quantum fluctuation in the vacuum, essentially tunneling from a high-energy dense quantum state into the expanding cosmos we see today. This concept ties into the theory of cosmic inflation, a brief period of explosive expansion during the universe's first fractions of a second. Stephen Hawking and James Hartley proposed a related idea known as the no-boundary hypothesis. According to it, the universe didn't begin at a sharp, singular point in time. Instead, time itself may have emerged smoothly from a quantum state without a conventional beginning. In this view, the Big Bang wasn't a spark from nothing, but the result of the universe quantum tunneling into existence, transitioning from a timeless quantum realm into the unfolding cosmic expansion we inhabit today. White holes. White holes are hypothetical cosmic objects that act as the exact opposite of black holes. While a black hole pulls in everything around it, even light, a white hole, in theory, would do the reverse. It would spew matter and energy outward and allow nothing to enter. They appear as solutions to Einstein's equations, especially in the extended Schwarzschild model, essentially representing the mathematical other side of a black hole. One of the most fascinating ideas is the possibility that black holes and white holes could be connected through wormholes. In that scenario, matter falling into a black hole might reappear somewhere else in the universe through a white hole, but this remains entirely speculative.
There are serious reasons why white holes aren't considered realistic physical objects, at least not yet.
They would break causality, allowing events to occur in reverse order. They violate the second law of thermodynamics, since ejecting matter without absorbing anything would reduce entropy in a closed system, which is impossible. So far, no observational evidence suggests white holes exist, but as theoretical constructs, they remain one of the most mind-bending possibilities in modern physics. Pocket universes. The concept of pocket universes, also called bubble universes, comes from modern cosmology and theoretical physics. It suggests that countless small, self-contained universes may exist inside a much larger cosmic framework. Each of these pockets would be an isolated bubble of space-time, potentially with its own physical laws, constants, and even different numbers of dimensions. This idea is closely connected to the theory of eternal inflation. According to this model, after the Big Bang, our universe underwent a phase of extremely rapid expansion, but inflation may not have ended everywhere at the same time. In some regions, it could have continued, creating new bubbles, new universes, inside a larger inflating background. Every bubble would evolve independently, sealed off from all the others. Events in one universe wouldn't influence events in another, and each could develop completely different structures, particles, or physics. Some theories propose that these universes form through quantum fluctuations or other high-energy processes during inflation. Though the idea is fascinating, it remains entirely theoretical. There's no direct observational evidence that pocket universes exist, and detecting them may be nearly impossible. Still, the concept offers an elegant explanation for certain cosmic mysteries, like the fine-tuning of physical constants in our own universe. If countless universes exist, each with random properties, then it's not surprising that we happen to live in the one where conditions are just right for life. Level 5, the Abyss. The origin of Europa's pink-brown streaks, one of the most enduring mysteries of Jupiter's moon. Europa is the origin of the strange pink and brown shades that stain its icy surface. These colors aren't random. They appear along cracks, ridges, and fracture lines in the moon's frozen crust, and understanding them may reveal what's happening deep beneath Europa's ice. Europa is covered by a thick shell of ice, beneath which lies a global ocean of liquid water. This makes it one of the most promising places in the solar system to search for extraterrestrial life. And those reddish streaks could be the key to understanding the chemistry, and perhaps even the biology, of that hidden world. The pink-brown coloration is especially prominent near the equator and along long fissures in the ice. Because the colors cluster along these geological structures, scientists suspect they are connected to activity beneath the surface, possibly involving the subsurface ocean. One leading theory suggests the hues come from salts, such as sulfates and chlorides, mixed with Europa's ice. These salts may be pushed upward through cracks by cryovolcanic activity or geyser-like eruptions that spray material from the ocean below. Once exposed at the surface, this material is bombarded by Jupiter's intense radiation. The radiation alters the chemical composition of the salts, transforming them into compounds with reddish and brownish tones. High-energy particles from Jupiter's enormous magnetic field can break apart molecules and help create complex organic substances known as tholins. These compounds often appear red or brown and are believed to form on Europa through exactly this kind of radiation-driven chemistry. Another possibility is that Europa's ocean interacts with the moon's rocky mantle, producing minerals and chemical byproducts that migrate upward. These materials could reach the surface through fractures, mix with the ice, and then darken or redden under radiation. In other words, Europa's strange colors may be the visible fingerprints of the moon's deep internal processes, and possibly even hints about the chemistry of an alien ocean beneath the ice.
The precise location of the WOW signal, still unknown.
The WOW signal, mentioned earlier, remains one of the most iconic and baffling events in the entire search for extraterrestrial intelligence. The 72-second burst of radio energy had no known natural analogs. Its strength, narrow frequency band, and sharp rise and fall pattern were unlike anything astronomers had seen before. But perhaps the greatest mystery of all is this: we still don't know exactly where it came from. The signal appeared to originate from a patch of sky in the direction of the constellation Sagittarius, near the star Tau Sagittarii, but it showed no direct connection to that star or to any known celestial body in the region. Because the signal never repeated, not once, despite decades of searching, scientists can't triangulate its origin or determine its distance. Without a second detection from the same source, pinning down its position is essentially impossible. This makes the WOW signal incredibly hard to classify. Its characteristics, a narrow frequency, stability, and the absence of a natural explanation strongly suggest a possible artificial source. Some have speculated that it might have been a transmission from an advanced extraterrestrial civilization, but with no repetition, no follow-up, and no corroborating data, it remains just that, a speculation.
Even today, the WOW signal stands alone, a solitary anomaly, unmatched by anything else in radio astronomy. A single unexplained whisper from the stars, with no way to know who or what sent it.
Oumuamua. Oumuamua was the first known interstellar object ever observed passing through our solar system. It was discovered on October 19, 2017, by the Pan-STARRS 1 telescope in Hawaii. Its name comes from Hawaiian and means scout or messenger from afar, an appropriate title for such a mysterious visitor. Oumuamua traveled on a hyperbolic trajectory which confirmed that it originated outside the solar system. At its closest approach to the Sun, it was moving at roughly 87.3 kilometers per second. Based on its brightness and motion, astronomers estimate its size to be about 230 meters long and 35 meters wide, giving it an unusually elongated shape. Its rotation period is around 8 hours, adding even more complexity to its behavior. Several theories have been proposed to explain what Oumuamua actually is. Some scientists speculated it might be an artificial object, perhaps a probe or a fragment of alien technology. But most researchers believe it's a natural interstellar body, possibly a strange asteroid or a fragment of a shattered comet, shaped by processes we don't fully understand. Regardless of its true nature, the detection of Oumuamua was a historic milestone. It marked the first time humanity had ever observed an object from another star system passing through our cosmic neighborhood, a reminder that the universe is far more dynamic and far more connected than we once imagined. And before you head off, don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. It helps this video stay afloat in the stormy seas of the YouTube algorithm. Your support keeps the channel alive and lets me keep exploring the deep, strange corners of the cosmos with you.